Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Sean and Slasher Show. Yeah, I said my name first, Rod. That's how it's going to be.
I expect nothing less.
But today we have something pretty cool planned. Rod brought an idea, and I think you guys are going to like it because we're going to talk about more than one topic today. He has like a list of 8 things that we're going to talk about. He's going to ask some like quick questions. We're going to go back and forth. And let us know what you think in the comments below if you like this style more or the old style. So, Rod, why don't you go ahead and explain what we're going to do?
I wouldn't really say it's my idea. Kind of stole it off ESPN as part of the interruption, but I'm more than welcome to actually say it as my own. So I know, look, I saw you on Plat Chat last week. I watched Plat Chat again this week, and Sliggy was on. And everyone's doing their top 15 rankings and their top 20 players of the event. Okay, spoiler everybody, FNATIC is number 1 and everybody else is fighting to win. Okay, did we just go over like a 2-hour discussion right there? That's pretty much the argument when it comes down to it. So I figured we do things a little bit differently, where we ask each other questions with some more pointed answers, and it's a toss-up between which team or player you're going to pick in the question. Thought it'd be a little bit better to engage this way. So, Sean, let's start us off.
Go ahead.
Our American pride is on the line here in Champions. We go back and forth in how much we want America to win and how badly we think they are at the moment. It usually depends from esports game to esports game, but we've had that throughout all of them, including Valorant. Which North American team do you think has a better chance of winning Champions, or at least getting to the final? Evil Geniuses or NRG?
Oh shit, that is a hard question. So I was actually talking a little bit with Potter recently, and she was saying that they were having a little bit of a hiccup as far as like their scrims go in their form, but then they're out of that now. I've also heard from other people that like NRG, it's hard to really gauge them before a tournament because they're always kind of like, like hit or miss in the scrims.
It's always how they are, though. They're known as they don't win scrims.
Exactly.
That's never mattered, though, Sean.
Exactly. And that is why, Rod, I'm actually going to say NRG here. I think they placed like, 4th in Tokyo? And that was literally like the worst I've seen them. Like that, honestly, like I feel like that was the worst form they could have possibly been in. I have pretty high like expectations for them because of that. Because I thought they were slumping at the tournament, like individual form wise. And I thought, they were kind of up against the wall with what they could bring strategically. Now they've had this huge break. The players haven't really been streaming all that much, if I'm being honest. I'm going to say NRG here. And I feel pretty good about it, low key. What do you think?
I mean, EG made the final in Tokyo. They were a half a second away from maybe winning the winner's bracket final and getting a huge advantage going into the grand final. EG was the best North American team from the end of the season all the way into Tokyo. And they showed it, with a really huge fight against FNATIC that not many other teams have been in. Personally, I think Ethan is a top 10, top 15 player in the world right now. I think that's pretty much universally agreed upon. He is definitely one of North America, maybe North America's most consistent top performer of any player. And of course, you have Demon One, which has brought this team to new heights, and they pretty much can't seem to lose. And now, while saying all of that, I agree with you, Sean. NRG is the team that if I had to choose between the two, it's definitely going to be the one with the former champions, with the more experienced IGL, one that's the core that's had more experience playing together and has more top results than any other North American core in Valorant so far in the last 3 years. And I even feel like in a matchup between them and FNATIC, if they got that far, NRG can go deeper. We even saw some of the map pull problems with EG in their best of 5, especially when they didn't come from the winner's bracket. Not totally sure if they're going to have those things fixed. I have more confidence in NRG addressing that type of issue. So between consistency, the experience, the world champion pedigree, the IGLing, and the specific matchup, I gotta go with NRG2 as the best chance of winning.
Dude, yeah. Man, they had us in the first half. I'm not gonna lie. Like you had me convinced you were about to pick EG right there. I think like the fact that people probably have, I'm not gonna say they've solved their fracture, but they're aware now, right? The Sova on fracture. I think it's not going to be as successful in champs, and maybe
you think they still run it, or you think by then it's going to get switched out?
I think they might run a Sova, but they might change some parts around the Sova. Honestly, they probably, unless they're like losing scrims, they might not even change their comp at all. So, but the thing is like they might not even get to play fracture, right? Like teams might ban it just out of fear at this point, and. Yeah, I need to see like more consistency across the other maps. I know their split's really good. I know their ascent's really good. Their Haven has always been sketchy to me. Their bind is a little bit sketchy as well. I just think there's some weaknesses in EG's map pool that I don't really see in NRG's map pool. I think Energy is solid across the entire map pool, and that's my main concern. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna ask you one now. Oh, you would have me ask you. Who has more to lose from bombing out of Champions, Loud or DRX?
Now, a couple days ago, we covered Group D. Some people call it the Group of Death. I am much more inclined as they are the Group of Disappointment. All a bunch of former world champions, and including the current defending world champion, all in different weird positions and all different types of issues across all 4 teams. But to me, these are the 2 teams that if they bomb out early, and one of them is going to lose in the very first match. So the team that loses has to go on an insane run to make it far from the very losers bracket round 1. So either of these teams is going to be off to a bad start immediately within the first like couple hours of the first day. And although we've spoken so much about Loud, and they're already my reporting on their internal issues so far with Les and with Aspas. The issues that we've seen with the scrim bucks the Loud has had, like even the past 2 weeks of North American Tier 2 teams, since everyone has flown in to LA and they've been scrimming here, things are not getting any better from what I understand. So you might expect me to pick Loud here. Nope. The actual answer is DRX. Because this team already has had issues with their own, whether they're going to play Foxy 9 or not, having a 6-man roster, it never really working. They have had championship expectations on this team.
Wait, Rod, I was in ranked today. You can literally go back and look at my VOD. Someone played a game of ranked with Stax and Mako, and they asked them, like, yo, are you guys going to win champions? And flat out, they just said no. Does that put any holes in what you're saying right now?
It's not doing good. No, that totally helps me, Sean, because I feel like DRX has had championship aspirations since they started this organization. They have failed so many times, and this year looks like the worst iteration of this current roster. So if they end up losing to Loud and then going out early, I think this is the team that implodes entirely after Champions end if they do not make it past the group stage.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, TRX would have to have a pretty crazy overhaul, but I don't know where they would go, right? They've had that core for so long, and man, I guess Loud, I don't think Loud has more to lose. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like there's so much up and coming talent in the Brazilian scene, and just what I've seen when I watch the Union play in the Ascension tournament, and some of the prospects in that scene, man, they can really bring up talent. And Fraud as the coach, someone like that just sticking around, I don't think Loud has a lot to lose. So if I'm answering the question directly, who has more to lose from bombing out, the answer has to be DRX, right? It has to be. But I don't think Loud's going to bomb out. That's the thing. We've talked about this before. They got that dead team smell. They're going to own. Dude, I got faith. Auspus is my boy. The only way DRX wins this series is if they bust out some shit like a deadlock and they cocoon my boy Auspus on an important round, What if that happens, Rod? What What if they get Deadlock ulted like 4 times in a game because Stax is just farming orbs on Deadlock?
That could
see it.
That could very well happen. That could very well happen. See, at least Loud, though, have won the World Championship, okay? They have had success. DRX has failed short. Very close in multiple tournaments. They have never been able to reach the apex where at least Loud has gotten there. And since considering their performance so far this year, this looks like the worst DRX that we've ever seen. So you've got to imagine if they go out early, you got Termi on the chopping block. You maybe even have Stacks if they want to make an IGL change. And you think like RB, Buzz, Zest, any of them, I feel like could go. It feels like Mako has been the most consistent and the best performing player on that team. He's kind of like the only one I could really see maybe staying if they go out early.
Don't forget Foxy9. Like, honestly, the whole like Foxy9 experiment like has been so weird. It's been so weird. But they said that they've been like prepping for champions with him. So maybe they have something up their sleeve. I don't know.
I also have an alternative reason for Loud too. Is that I think that the team is dead no matter what. If they go on this run and they win the championship, I still think Aspis is going to leave.
No way.
They just did it, okay? They just won the championship, and Sasi and Pankata left, okay? I don't think that winning for this team actually is going to fix anything. So I think the team, as currently structured, is dead no matter what happens, even if they win, and that is why DRX is more to lose. Because I think if they win, they'll maybe consider like running it back. I think Loud is dead no matter what. No matter what happens, this team is over.
Okay, fair enough. I guess we both have different reasons for picking DRX here and saying that it shouldn't be Loud. All right, next question.
All right, next up, of the contenders looking to take down FNATIC, who are more likely to underperform compared to their expectations? The first matchup between Team Liquid and NAVI.
Oh, who are more likely to underperform than expected? People have like no expectations of NAVI at this point, right? Like they are literally... I can't imagine a team with this stacked of a roster having lower expectations, actually. With like the pedigree they have on that team. They have like tournament winners on this team. They have CNED who won like the first champions. Like this guy is insane. Why don't people think this team is good? It's actually ridiculous. So again, answering your question,
I think they've been coasting a little bit. I think they were coasting a little bit. I'm not going to put as much of the extreme criticism I think as others have put.
Bro, they literally were playing Lotus with Brim, Neon, and Cypher. Is that what it was fucking wild. A Brimstone on Lotus.
Things out.
It was wild. It was actually wild. I saw what they were trying to cook. It just did not work at all. And they picked it. That's like the most crazy thing is they fucking picked that map. Dude, I think Navi's a sleeper. And people's expectations of them are low. I think when I watched that LCQ run, they lost a lot of clutches. Like a lot of 1-on-1s, 1-on-2s, 1-on-3s, even 1-on-4s against like Cold Dementa, which are all just like little positioning and communication lapses in their team. Like that is so easy to fix. I think TL would be the answer to your question, but I think TL is getting out of this group. So I don't think it's going to happen. So, I don't know. I guess TL is more likely to underperform than more than expected, than what people expect. But that's just because people have no expectations in Navi. Who the fuck?
It's good reasoning, Sean. I'm right there. I'm right there with you. So who are you picking?
I'm
after
picking
you've
TL.
You configured all of that.
I'm picking TL because I it's a trick question. I can't pick Navi.
No, you can pick Navi because even if they're in what a lot of people consider a tough group, maybe not me as much, you can definitely see them going 0-2 and out. And that even though they're in a tough group, that would be disaster for Navi. Even if expectations are so low, going 0-2 and out would be a disaster. And I still think that's why you pick Navi. Because that looks like the realistic scenario. If I'm a betting man, I'm probably betting against them to lose against Liquid, and I'm probably betting them to lose against DRX if it ends up being DRX in NAVI and Losers Finals. DRX has a better, consistency in making it out of groups than NAVI had. So I feel like even with expectations so low for NAVI, the answer is still NAVI. Because that is how low they are currently. Even with the low expectations, they're picking them as the underdog is still really hard to do.
Yeah, fair enough. I think in my pick, I actually had Navi winning that first lower bracket game.
Oh, against DRX?
Yeah, against DRX. Which means I had DRX going 0-2. That would be a huge disappointment. No matter who goes 0-2 in this group, they're going to feel like shit. Like, they're going to feel really bad about it. Because, like you said, everyone in this group feels like they could probably win a tournament.
I also think people have been a little bit too hard on Team Liquid, maybe even myself when we talked about them last week. And I can realistically see them winning the group. So that even though they definitely have higher expectations, they really only want to beat FNATIC in regular season in a best-of-5 series. They have good seeding here. I think they have a really good chance of going far and even being like, oh, hey, look, we got first seed out of the group in depth. We're kicking ass right now. We're going to keep this momentum going forward. So I think Liquid's actually going to do pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll do well. All right. So we agree there. All right, next question. Of our LCQ winners, who is more likely to overperform than expected? Like, perform better than what, the public would expect? Crew, Giants, or Zeta?
I feel like this actually isn't that close of an answer.
Really?
And that Giants are clearly the best team of the three here.
What?
I feel like Crew surely has a ton of momentum coming out of the LCQ, and they probably think they're gods right now. Like, even though they didn't play, the partner teams, or the ones that already qualified to get in, they're on such a heater of a run. I feel like that would be the easy answer. However, and again, I feel like the EMEA scene has honestly been looked at too poorly when historically they've always been the best community when it comes to best scrim finding, the most amount of teams that are good practice, the most amount of teams that have the highest level. I don't think it's like a coincidence that FNATIC are the best team coming out of the EU region. And for everyone to put down like the rest of the teams, I don't think does the entire scene justice for just how good they are. So for Giants to be that good and to come out of the qualifier winning 3-0 and to play that well, I think that they're going to go on a Cinderella run here in the tournament. I think Giants are going to play really well.
That is spicy. That is a really spicy take, actually. Honestly, it would not surprise me, Rod. Like, I like this take from you, actually. That's a pretty spicy take. Wow. The reason why I like that take is because if you look at that LCQ run, unlike Crew, who had to start dude, they had to play so many goddamn matches. Like, remember, they had to play MIBR in like a single limb best of 3, and then they played Furia in a single limb best of 3. And then who did they play after that? Did they play Leviathan after? Yeah, they played Leviathan after that, and then Cloud9. Dude, they just had a gauntlet of matches, like just so many matches. They showed to me that they could play 6 maps in the pool at a very high level, right? But unfortunately, they had to show to me that they played 6 maps in the pool. Which means that their footage is out there. Giants, on the other hand, which I'm showing their maps that they played, dude, these guys played 4 maps, right? They played Lotus, Pearl, Split. Actually, they played 5. Lotus, Pearl, Split, Haven, Bind. But, you can't even include all of them because the Bind game that they played was in the finals with a troll-ass comp. They were running, the Yoru Chamber. That doesn't count. There's no way they're going to run that. That does not count. I wouldn't even be watching that VOD if I were prepping for them. I'd be like, well, they're not going to do that shit. There ain't no way. Yoru Rays? These guys think they are. They're not going to be running that. And so, because of that, I think Giants is a little bit favored as far as that goes. But I think Crew, what they showed to me is that they could run these default styles where they could punish aggression all throughout LCQ on all of the maps. They were running 1-3-1 bases with like Nagzet on one side, I think, and who am I missing? Was it like Melser?
I believe so.
Someone was on the other side of the map, and they were just punishing anyone that pushed. Sometimes it was Davey, sometimes it was Melser. It kind of just depended on like which role they were in. And the pack of like Kesnit, Klaus, and like Melzer or Davies, depending on the role, like I said, that pack was very good at working the map. Now, I don't know if they're going to be able to like absorb the aggression with like EDG and PRX. That's what I'm worried about. And they also had really good reads throughout LCQ because it was teams that they're probably way more familiar with. I don't think they're going to have those reads here at Champions. But their form is fucking insane. And Kesnit is a monster. And like this is like the Raze era, I feel like. I feel like he can really pop off in this tournament. But to, again, going by the wording of your question, who is more likely to...
Yeah, it's all about answering the question. There's definitely probably more expectations than Giants and Crew. I think there's a little bit of a higher... Little bit. Not much.
I think more people have higher expectations of Crew. You think it's Giants?
Because of all those things that you said, Giants had a much more dominating LCQ. Crew had to like really work for it.
They didn't lose a game though. They didn't lose a
that is that's a good point. It's a good point.
Dude, I felt like they owned LCQ. Considering this was a team that didn't win a single map.
They did own LCQ. And so there you have your answer. Come on, be confident in your answer. And pick Crew.
But the question was who's more likely to overperform than expected. And
I see.
I would say that would be Giants based on the wording of the question. But I believe I have Crew getting past Giants in my bracket.
Oh, okay.
So, like, again, kind of like playing with the wording here of this question, I feel like it would impress me more, I think, if Giants beat Crew. Or
do you have either of these teams winning their first rounds matchup? No. Personally, I do not think that Crew is going to beat PRX, but I do have Giants beating EDG. I know the stops are so high right now for Mr. KANGKANG to come in and wipe the floor with everybody. I fully am understanding of that. I think Giants beat EDG in the first match. And then because of that, I definitely think Crew can make it through losers and have a great chance to go on, but they're going to have to take the hard road again.
Yeah. I think Giants would have to be in really fucking good mechanical form, which I'm not saying it's like impossible, but like, man, like I feel like even if EDG has like a sloppy game, they like win these 3-on-3s that they shouldn't win, or like 3-on-4s or 3-on-5s even that they shouldn't win because someone gets like some pop-off round. And I don't think that they're like, people have them fucking winning the tournament. I do not think EDG is going to win this tournament.
No.
Which means they're probably going to win this tournament because I just said that. But I think they're like an insane upset team with ridiculous mechanical skill. And I don't feel like Giants are going to beat them in the opening game when they're just going in blind. Like they don't know what EDG's comp is going to be. Like, what the fuck? I definitely favor EDG in the opening game, and I definitely favor PRX in that opening game with something.
Okay, so that means we're both going to be wrong. We will see you guys in a week after this is over. Yeah. We definitely will be. And Zeta, I love you guys. Laz, 10, you guys played fantastic in LCQ. Incredible run to represent Japan here in the World Championship. It's going to bring a ton of people, into this atmosphere. You guys have a great community over there. You guys are not being FNATIC. I'm sorry. Sorry to hear to tell you guys. I'm not sure if you are aware. It's going to be next to impossible for Zeta. So love you guys, but
it's not you.
Unlucky draw. Yeah.
It's them. It's not you. It's them. It's one of those kind of things, right? Like you're in a group with FNATIC and NRG, right? Like
tough break.
I'm sorry.
Tough break. Yeah, I'm sorry too. So let's move on. This one I think is tailored just for you, Sean. I made sure that I was going to ask this one. Who needs to win a world championship for the first time? And they both won LANs before, which are major championships. But this is different. I considered champions another tier over masters, for example. It's a world championship, right? It's a little bit different than masters in terms of importance and winning. Which of these players needs the win more to define their legacy? FNS or Angel?
Low-key, I feel like FNS doesn't need that at all. I feel like FNS has cemented himself as like the GOAT NAIGL in Valorant. Like I don't, like I think originally people were really high on the Shazam train, but as time has gone on, because Shaz hasn't really like had presence in the top of the scene, I feel like now at this point, like FNS is the de facto player you think of when you think of like strategy at the top of the North American scene. And while Angel has had a lot of success in this game, he also has had immense amounts of criticism thrown his way for like his first deaths and his opening engagements, which I understand why he's doing it a lot of the time. I really do. They are fucking crazy plays sometimes, but I understand. Like I totally see what he's going for. I think if he won a championship, he would get all the fucking haters off of his back. And that is the answer to this question, is Angel, because of that. Because I think Angel's in the hot seat like all the time right now. He's always getting criticism because of the comps they run. I mean, I just did it with the whole like Lotus shit. And then obviously like the first deaths and stuff like that. So I'm blatantly saying Angel here because I think FNS is like cemented as the NA GOAT IGL at this point.
When I was putting this question down, I was actually considering their Counter-Strike career. If you include their Counter-Strike career before moving over to Valorant, does that change your mind at all?
I mean, I don't think that's really fair, but
they're the two oldest players, I believe, in the tournament. They are the two players who have played Counter-Strike professionally for, I believe, at least over 5 or 6 years before moving. They are really the only two players left of the era of longtime CSIGL, still now with still no longer DSG. Really, the two left that are doing this while still playing. So to me, that's why you include the CS career. Also, I believe it is very close. Like, did you know each of their Masters wins in Valorant are their first ever really big Tier 1 LAN championships?
It's kind of crazy, actually.
They each have one. And they're tied. And their CS careers actually are kind of similar. They were both IGLs on teams that would come so close to, and you know all about this and how difficult it was to like play against the European gods in NA IGL.
I feel like Angel had much more success in Counter-Strike, but
yes, he did. And
I feel like it's unfair to compare the two.
Why?
Because they're just totally different games. I mean, the way they operate is so different. So, and I mean, like Angel beat me at a major when like Simple was standing in, and
unlucky Sean.
He was like standing in for Hellraisers.
The Hellraisers game.
This was like before Simple was Simple, and he just shit on me, like, and then also I think that Hellraisers team was like one of the only teams to like be able to beat NIP in like the early days of CS:GO, and then I think Angel was like an incredible like CS 1.6 player if I remember correctly. Like he's been around for a long time. Like, and so because of that, he's like definitely heavily favored in like the Counter-Strike argument. But again, like none of that really matters today. I think, yeah, that's why I understand all the shit when Angel's trying to make these plays. I'm like, oh, he's thinking like he needs to show presence to force this rotation, and like he's playing like 8 layers deep. And that's why he's willing to like kind of argue it with like all of, the fucking people at home. I don't know. I think I'm right here.
So when I was thinking of the question, I was thinking about their Counter-Strike careers too, because let's just say Angel did retire or step down after this Champions. We don't really know what he's gonna do. I think definitely the performance of NAVI is gonna affect that. Like he might be retired from professional gaming as a whole, and that is why I was thinking about each of their their Counter-Strike histories. I think if you do include CS, I do think you're right. I feel like Angel has had way more success internationally than FNS. I think FNS actually did have a pretty okay time on CLG. Like, you two were like the preeminent IGLs in North America trying to get over the hump of the legendary like NIP, FNATIC, and run into random simple in a tournament and everything go down the drain. It was really hard. FNS did actually a pretty reasonable job on CLG, but Angel did have more success, definitely with Hellraisers and his CSGO career, and even had a pretty decent 1.6 career. So if you're looking at it historically, you would say FNS does, because he has more to catch up to in Angel. But if you really are looking at it with just Valorant, this might be it for Angel. If what we're predicting happens and they go 0-2 and Navi gets knocked out, this might be Angel's last tournament. Because there's going to be serious conversations if he should still continue playing, or if they want to move him onto the coaching role. I mean, he's been playing for a very long time. Those conversations are already happening in the media. I'm sure if they lose, they're going to be exacerbated in terms of what's going on. FNS still has many more years to compete. He is technically only 31, which is like 65 years old in esports already. That is true. But it doesn't look like FNS is close to retirement like Angel is. It really seems like FNS is going to be able to go a couple more years. Does that seem unreasonable to you?
No,
do you get that feeling?
That seems totally reasonable. And I actually think Angel can go a couple more years too. I think like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he...
Well, then, Sean, you could get... if this is what you're saying is true. Yeah. I hear 100 Thieves needs a new IGL.
Dude, I'm going through Angel's Liquipedia right now. This guy has tournaments in 1.6 dating back to, like, 2006, Rod. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, he's the most OG pro player still a professional in Valorant right now.
This guy was literally fucking winning tournaments when probably a viewer was not even born yet.
As soon as Solo and Termi retired, Angel has become the longest active pro player competing right now.
That's wild. That's actually wild, dude. He's been playing for so long. All right, let's go to the next. Oh, this is actually kind of spicy. I like this. Who is more integral to their team's success? Something, Demon 1, or KANGKANG?
Yeah, I mean, these three guys are all, in a vacuum, maybe the stars of their team. EG, before Demon 1, last place in the league, kind of a running joke in North America. After Demon 1, didn't lose, made it to the final of Tokyo, and almost beat FNATIC in 2 best of series. That is a huge resume right there. And then you have Something who wasn't able to get to Tokyo. PRX still is a monster anyway, but there has been so much hype around this player. There might not be any higher hype for any player other than Something in this tournament coming up, in terms of everyone wanting to know how he is going to play. However, my answer is KANGKANG, because I really think that if EDG being rated so highly by so many teams, and what I was saying earlier about I think Giants is really good, I feel like KANGKANG needs to put on a carry job through this event if EDG really want to get to their maximum potential. Not the other players on his team aren't going to give him the help he needs. I think they will, but I definitely feel like he is going to need to put on the stronger carry. What did I just see op performance? They're going to need to drop him an op every round. They better have their IGL having ghost armor for half the game just to give him an op on defense whenever he wants it. And that is a bigger necessity for EDG to win than it is for EG or PRX to win.
I fully agree. And the reason why I totally agree is because, PRX showed that they can make a deep run with CGRS playing. And that's not saying anything about something. Like, I actually think Something might like catapult PRX to win this event just based on how they looked without him, like, and knowing what he brings to the table. Demon 1, I think, again, he turned this team around, but on Fracture, this guy plays Brim, and I think a lot of like EG's success kind of like throughout Tokyo, I'm not saying Demon 1 like felt flat in Tokyo, but a lot of their success was like drawn up shit from Potter, like, and big plays from Boostio too. Like, I think those, like the combination of those things, like winning pistols and bonus rounds and shit, like that is what catapulted EG to the top. KANGKANG, I felt like put his fucking team on his back. And like, again, like you said, if EDG wants to live up to the hype, he's going to have to do it again. And because of that, like if KANGKANG was missing from EDG, they would have to play a totally fucking different game. Kind of similar to what PRX had to do with CGRS. But I don't know if they can do it, right? Like, I've seen PRX do it, but I don't know if EDG can do it with KANGKANG missing. Like, that guy is one of one. No one plays the game like him, and no one is that skilled with an operator. Like, he is fucking incredible. I'm saying him. It's just, yeah, no question in my eyes. It's him. All right.
Like, this question could be reworded. Which player are you giving the op to most? Who are you dropping the op out of these three? And they're all really good, but KANGKANG is the answer. I even think it helps them for Demon 1. He's not even the best player on EG.
Okay.
For me, Ethan, with all due respect to what Demon 1 did for EG, to me, Ethan is the best player on that team. He is the most consistent player on that team. And if EG is going to make it back to the championship, it's going to be with Ethan, you know, kind of leading the way as, like, the player who really has the most Tier 1 LAN experience in Counter-Strike. And now over to Valorant. So I think that's even another reason why it's not Demon 1. And as you mentioned, PRX has been winning without something. Yeah. So this makes them the biggest threat to beat FNATIC, which we'll talk about in a second. But I definitely think KANGKANG is most responsible for carrying them.
All right, we agree there. All right, next question, Rod. Go ahead.
All right, let's move on. I saw you in your predictions for who's going to win MVP of Champions. Speaking of the MVP for me, it's looking at the whole year, who is the MVP of 2023. And it comes down to me, to three teammates. These are the only options. It's FNATIC, and FNATIC of who you're going to pick. To me, that is Alphager, Leo, and Dirk coming in to this event.
Alphager and Dirka. God damn it, Rod.
Who is your MVP coming into this event, and once we leave, who is going to be your MVP of the year? Not just of the event, of the year. Or is this going to be wrong and FNATIC's going to lose and it's going to be someone else?
Yeah, I think the answer to this question for me is going to be Dirka, but that's because, like, I think even though his stats were fucking incredible at Tokyo, they could have been better, right? Like, I think that was like a mid performance in Dirka standards, right? Like, Leo, I
actually cannot believe this is how you're answering.
I don't think I think, like, the value of Leo is through the roof, but I think when it comes down to, like, MVPs and shit like that, it is the only time you would end up picking a support player is if the star duelist had, like, an average performance.
Was he not the MVP at lock-in?
Who's that? Leo?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So,
and I'm telling you,
Sean, count with me here. How many tournaments LANs do we have so far this year? 3. Who is the MVP of the first LAN?
Telling you, maybe.
Who is the MVP of lock-in? Who is the MVP of Tokyo?
Alfier, but, like, honestly,
what name of the three did you not mention of those three?
What are you talking about? Alfier was the one I was
yes,
going to go.
And what name did you not mention?
What are you talking about? Leo?
Leo is MVP of lock-in.
Oh, Dirk, I see what you're saying now. Yeah. Dirk.
So how is your answer the guy who has not been the MVP for already the first LAN or the second LAN? You're telling me that he's going to carry FNATIC so hard in this championship that they're going to win the championship, and he's going to put on such an incredible performance that he's going to be the MVP of the year.
Yeah, I think that. I fucking think that. This guy, and honestly, Rod, like, the separation in Tokyo between, like, Alfier, Leo, and Dirka isn't that high. Like, it honestly isn't what you think it is. Like, his average damage around is 157. You know, it's higher than any of his teammates, which it should be considering he plays Raze.
Yes, yes, exactly, Sean.
But he's also a single duelist in this comp that's being asked to fucking literally int in certain scenarios, like double satchel.
Also true. Also true.
Like, he has been put in a lot of weird situations, and those players have come up really fucking big, right? But they wouldn't get those opportunities without a player like Durka. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this guy, I'm not going to be like a stats Sean over here, you know, like a stats Samuel. But I'm going to say, like, Durka can be... Let me actually see, hold up, what, like, EMEA's fucking... Let me see what his standings were. What the fuck am I looking for? EMEA, VCT?
Alphayer was the best of the season.
He was?
From what I remember. I'm a stat slasher. I'm gonna wait for you to finish this sod here, but I am stat slashing all the way to the bank on this.
So his rating was higher, but his ACS was significant. Durka by far had the highest ACS. By far had the highest ADR. Like, let me see. KD is where like Alfier starts like topping, and obviously like first bloods, Durka's like through the roof. Like, he's #1 in the league. He way higher than Safe, who's second and has played like 160 more rounds. So 170 almost. Like, that's fucking wild. Like, to have your duelist putting up those numbers. So that's what's putting them in situations where like they can shine. Now, it also takes fucking incredible skill to like close those situations out. So I'm not like fucking dismissing the other two, but I don't know. Like, I am very fearful of like Durka in the server. Like, he can do a lot. And I'm not saying like Alfie or Leo can't. Leo's presence is not really felt mechanically. It's more felt by his like util and spacing. Alfie is all like mechanical presence. But Durka is just, I don't know, man. He's just different to me. I think that's my guy. I'm saying Durka. I know you don't like that answer. Who do you say out of the other two?
See, the only reason I don't is just because you make great points about Durka, and this is why FNATIC is such a great team, because we could argue over 3 different people of who's going to be the best player of the year, and they all have really strong arguments. To me, it was just Leo, despite everything that you said, also had great stats while playing support, and he was the MVP. He was MVP of Lock-In. And because he's the MVP of Lock-In, and it's generally considered that Alfier was the best player in Tokyo, then you each have these players who each got their own MVP. And I think Leo in Tokyo really was right there under Alfier. Probably also could be argued, other than Durkee as well, to be #2 in Tokyo. So just because of how those two are playing, to me, it's theirs to lose. And that because of that, Durkee is in a far third in terms of if I had to put an MVP vote now. Right now, I have Leo in the lead, actually. Because of all the support, you know, it's the position that he's playing and the way that he is used around the team, for him to be this consistent and have the great stats to back it up, I feel like that is why he is slightly in the lead over Alfier, who I have second, and Durkee is a little bit more in third place. I really feel like Durkee would have to have such a bigger performance difference than Alfier or Durkee in this championship, and FNATIC would have to win the championship for him to become the MVP of the year. I feel like the gap right now is... The gap between Durkee and Alfier and Leo is bigger than the difference between Leo and Alfier, to me.
Dude, I'm going to say this. The reason why FNATIC, those players' stats are as good as they are is because they don't fucking lose. When your support players...
Hey, you know, it helps, man.
Yeah, so
it helps.
if FNATIC doesn't win this tournament, Durka's stocks are actually going to go up compared to them. Because that means that the support players are probably going to be put in like bad scenarios a lot, and they can't close them out. Whereas, like, you know, the duelist is probably going to get his. And, dude, I'm telling you, like, I just think, like, he's going to get it. And I think if Fnatic does win the championship, which I have them winning it, I think you heavily weight Champions over anything else that happened.
Of course. Yes.
Like, I think you heavily weight it in the MVP of the year. So with that in mind, like, I don't think those two were like leaps and bounds above him in the other tournaments. He was always like neck and neck with them statistically and in the server, like eye test wise. So yeah, I just think he plays probably a little bit better. I think that Fnatic probably loses like a couple more maps as they get solved a little bit more. And because they lose a couple more maps, the support player stats aren't as good, right? Like, and that causes Durka to rise in the stats and he gets the MVP. That's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yep, you could very well be right. And look, if they don't win, and this will go into maybe our last question, it's going to be looking really bad on them as a whole. The whole year might just be a complete failure.
No, I wouldn't look bad on them, dude. I mean, like...
Well, it depends how, they look at it. Champions really is the event everyone wants to win. They're going to win the first 2 LANs of the year. Huge, giant lead. Favored to win the championship, and they fall short.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we'll see how the players think about it, but...
Yeah. Oh, that was a good question. All right, let's close it out. Last one. If you were a betting man, Rod, which I don't know if you are. I don't know if you bet on shit. Do you? Who are you taking right now? FNATIC or PRX and the field? Wait, is that the question? Oh, PRX and the field? So like,
yes.
Just FNATIC or the field?
Yes, it's FNATIC or the field. When I get the betting sponsorship, I will be totally down for betting. But until then, it's okay. But once that happens, I'll give you guys the over-unders and how you're going to make the most amount of money. Don't worry out there, Valorant community.
Dude, I just watched, what's that YouTuber's name? Like Hoonanje or something like Hoon...
Oh, yeah, about the Counter-Strike skin.
Bro, he is a dissertation about the CSGO skins. Okay, I'm getting mega sidetracked. Okay, all right, back to the point.
So the reason the question is worded this way is, to me, PRX have the best shot. Of any teams in the field, I feel like PRX has the best shot of taking down FNATIC. I don't know if that is such a big hot take. I feel like, considering how they played in Tokyo, you have such high expectations for something and how good that he looks on an individual performance. And we know what the Jet player can do when the Jet is riding high. Everything can just come together and you can win off of that. So I feel like PRX has the best shot. And that's why they are in, the title of the question. But
okay. You don't think NRG and like the rematch?
I am going against what my brain tells me. My brain tells me there is an easy answer to this question. But I don't want to go that way, okay? I am going to take the field. I feel like Liquid shows they are beatable. EG shows they are beatable. And not many people even consider EG the best team in Tokyo. They just had the best run in Tokyo. Something that kind of we've been talking about. There are ways to beat FNATIC. There are still so many good teams here at any moment that could, including Liquid or DRX or Aloud or PRX or NRG or maybe even EG themselves, that I really feel like I really do think them winning back to back is extremely difficult.
You would have said that before Tokyo, though. You would have said that same shit.
I would have. Winning back to back, though, that one's okay. Okay, back to back. Okay, I had to watch Jordan do it twice. I know how hard that can be. I am gonna take the field here. I feel like FNATIC is going down.
So what you're saying is, you think that they like lose and then they go play baseball? Why you bring up Michael Jordan into this shit? They win.
Three-peats are hard to come by, okay? But, okay, by the way, I just want to throw out there, I know how you're going to answer.
Yeah.
They are not a dynasty if they win this.
What?
I know we're going to have to get into this discussion probably later on in the offseason if they do. They are not a dynasty, all right?
Bro, you are crazy.
when I say back to back to back, this is not the 94-96 Bulls, all right? They are not the 98-2001 Yankees, all right? They would have won 3 times in 1 year because there's only 3 tournaments, and that is a big deal. That still doesn't make you a dynasty. They would have to win way more than they are now next year. If they did this again next year, then I would crown them a dynasty. But if they win the championship, they are not in that. This conversation cannot be happening.
Dude, I can't even believe it. You're doing the fucking esports to traditional sports fucking comparison. I hate you right now. Oh, you're trying to do that thing right now. Oh my God, you're trying to say like
comparing them to the Yankees or the Patriots or the Bulls, and you're gonna put this FNATIC in there? That is absurd.
The parity in Valorant is through the fucking roof. Teams can't even win back-to-back tournaments. If they win 3 in a row, they are the GOATs. Like, they might be the only team.
3 years. Don't even use that term. Dude, the term is banned on the show.
There will not.
While the game is under 3 years old. Okay, you can't even use that. It cannot be uttered.
I'm telling you, there's no way that a team is gonna. If they manage to go on a streak and win like 3 in a row, and then like hypothetically they lose the opening lock-in, if there even is one next year or something like that. No, they're still a fucking dynasty. Like, I don't.
No, they don't got to win a lock-in. They just have to win champions again next year. That's all. That's all. No, they don't have to win every single Masters in a row. They just have to win champions again. Okay, they can't just win this year. They have to win it again next year.
You realize we just had a debate right before this about who the MVP is, and it's all 3 players from their team, and we didn't even say Chronicle, who literally is the only player to have won 3 tournaments. He's the only one, right? Like 3 or 4? I don't even fucking know. Like, everyone on their team is just the GOAT. Like, Boaster's the GOAT IGL. Leo's the GOAT initiator. Alfier's the GOAT sentinel. Chronicle can just do everything and anything, apparently. And Durka's just the GOAT duelist. And then Minnie's just the GOAT coach. Like, I don't know. Rod, I'm going to go ahead and disagree.
So does this mean you're taking FNATIC against the field?
I think that's a different conversation. I'm talking about the dynasty thing now.
Well, you can answer the actual question first, and then we'll end it with this
okay.
future talk.
Shit, dude. I'm going to actually say...
We just had this whole preemptive dynasty conversation. At least be confident in your boys, Sean. Your boys, Boaster. Pick your boys,
Like I said, dude, parity and just variance in Valorant is so fucking high. I still think FNATIC are my favorites to win it.
There you go.
Yeah. But what is it, 55% and then the field is 45%?
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. It's not like they're heavy favorites versus the field. The field is fucking crazy. That everyone. It's if I say NRG has a 10% chance to win the tournament, Liquid has 8% chance. Fuck, dude. PRX has to have a pretty high chance. I think PRX
probably
is
the second highest. Yeah, definitely they're the number 2.
I think EDG, their playstyle could give them troubles. EG has shown they can probably give them a little bit of trouble. I think energy in rematches is terrifying. I think Liquid showed that they have some kind of formula to hang with them based on what happened in the EMA finals. But other than that, Loud isn't in the best form. DRX isn't in the best form. Navi's not in the best form. Yeah. I think I'm going with FNATIC versus the field. I'm going the opposite way as you.
I mean, honestly, that is, as I was saying, if I use my brain, that's the answer, Sean. It is FNATIC, okay?
Yeah.
If I'm using a little bit of my heart and to kind of take an alter answer here, I'm just going with the field. I think that FNATIC could have been figured out a little bit, and that this is just unsustainable.
Yeah.
Unsustainable. Someone else is going to take it.
Dude, someone called the fucking cops on you. I heard that siren in the background. It's because you fucking said it's not a dynasty. You're fucking crazy.
What? Okay.
You should be locked up.
We will cut this off now because we will wait until after They win to have this 2-hour conversation on if they are a dynasty or not. But I know I'm right. And any true sports fan out there would say, show me more.
God damn.
Show me more. 1 year, it doesn't count. Even in esports terminology, 1 year, not enough. Sorry, not enough.